everyone, welcome to episode 65 of the Arieknits podcast. My name is Ariel, and this is a video podcast where I talk about all the things that I have been knitting and spinning on for the past usually week, but for this episode it's the past 2 weeks because I was out last weekend, so I didn't have a regular podcast video. And yeah, I had an ice skating competition that I traveled for last weekend, and have lots to share about it, and I'll talk about it at the end part of this video. So we're going to start with the normal thing that we usually start with on this podcast, which is what I'm wearing. And I do have a couple finished objects, and usually if I have a finished object, I will wear it for the podcast. That's kind of what I usually do, but none of them are like a garment sweater thing. So I am wearing I don't think I've ever worn this or talked about it on any of my podcast episodes because I made it before I made videos, and I don't even have a Ravelry project page for it, so I don't have that much details on it, and so I made it a few years ago is all I'm trying to say. But I thought I was looking through my drawers of knitwear to see what I wanted to wear for the video today, and I saw this and I was like, it's been a while since I wore this. Kind of forgot about it. So this is my hair is blocking, but this is the Ursina by Jacqueline Cieslak, and I do remember the yarn I used for this, and by remember I mean that I remember the yarn base because, well, I didn't even remember it. What it was is I remembered that I used the yarn that was recommended in the pattern. So I looked that up, found it in my email, found the receipt, and I figured out what yarn it was and also what colorway it was. So the yarn I used for this was Magpie Fibers Nest Sport in the colorway Castaway. And I do not remember what size I made. It probably was either the first or second size. But I can tell you my final measurements on this because I just took the measurements before putting it on. This does have 36 inches in circumference for me, and that gives me about 6 inches of positive ease. And I do kind of recall, I think I made this back when I really didn't even think about gauge. And so I think my gauge was off. And by that, I mean, I think that this came out larger than what was originally intended with the size I chose with the stitch counts and all of that. But I really like the sizing on how it came out. And yeah, because I think I was planning on making something in between a cropped and a full length. And I don't know, something about whatever, like it ended up being the right size. And I know length you can always change by knitting more or less, but the sleeves, I think I might not have gotten to all of the decreases because they were just getting too long. And so that's when I think I figured out maybe my row gauge was probably off. But again, the outcome of it was fine. I think I got really lucky. And yeah, so anyway, let me stand up and show it to you, and then I'll continue to talk more about it. Yeah, because kind of the biggest design, I think, feature here is at the bottom of this sweater. And you'll see the fold lines here just because it was in the back of my drawer, but you can see there's like this triangle, and there's like the center line here with the stitch, and I think that also happens under the arm here as well on both sides of the sleeve. It kind of follows the raglan line here as well, and it has the same on the back is what it looks like. And yeah, I really like the color. Again, I like the fit. I like that it's really flowy and is nice and loose and not super tight. I'm pretty sure that because this was early on in my knitting, that I probably just followed pretty much exactly what the pattern says to do. So for the bind off for the sleeves, it was just a normal bind off, like nothing super crazy, and it just has like the natural roll when you do the stockinette. So that was kind of like the finishing for that. And I don't think there might have been something done for the edging here, because it does look really nice and neat, but it wasn't an I-cord. It might have just been a pick up and immediately bind off kind of situation. But yeah, I really like how this looks. I really like the color. The one thing, though, that I think does prevent me from having this be more of like a staple in my wardrobe is that the yarn is kind of itchy. And it was kind of disappointing for me because this yarn was on the pricier side, especially, again, in my beginning yarn knitting journey. It still is a kind of pricey yarn. And yeah, so it was just a little sad for me when I finished it and I put it on and wanted to wear it for, a whole day, and I was like, it's kind of itchy. So even for me now, so back then I really didn't kind of appreciate woolly wools. Now I feel like I probably have a more appreciation for it and can probably tolerate a slight itchiness or pokiness to yarn if it's like a nice woolly warm wool. But this one does still kind of itch for me. I think I could probably go a day maybe wearing it, but it still kind of itches, sadly. I did look it up, and this fiber, or the yarn base, is a 100% Corriedale non-superwash. And I have found Corriedale to be slightly itchy for me, so yeah, that is just something to keep in mind. But it is kind of sad for me because I like how this came out, like the color. I basically like everything about it besides how the yarn feels on my skin. But I would probably say that I probably have more sensitive skin than most, maybe. Mohair does make me itch, and I know for some people mohair is like super, super soft and fluffy, so that's the situation for me. But yeah, I thought I would just wear it just to show off this pattern. I was like, when I put this on, I was like, maybe I should make another one with a yarn that doesn't make me want to itch. So I do really like, actually, this sweater. So anyway, that is what I'm wearing today. It is not a newly finished object, but something that I've never worn on the podcast. So now on to finished objects. I have 2 finished objects for you today, and one of them is so fun. This was one of my test knits, and this is the Brioche Blur Cowl by Bridget. And let me just, I have so many good things to say about this. I'm gonna hold it up. Here's how it looks. It is a Mobius cowl, so you'll see that there is a twist here. So it's a full like circle thing, but there's a twist. So when you graft it together, you twist it before you graft it together. This is the first time I've made anything Mobius shaped, and so I thought that was really fun. And I realized when I was grafting this closed that I don't think that I have grafted together something of this shape, where it's in the round, but you're putting it together. Does that make sense? Yeah, and so I was like, following the instructions, I was like, wait, I don't think I've ever done this before. Thankfully, the instructions were really helpful. It was just, trust the process, follow the instructions. There were a couple links to videos, and also Bridget has and she does link this in the pattern too, that she has a blog post on her website that also has pictures and explains what to do. It's also a garter Kitchener stitch, and I was like, I've also never done that before, but I was able to do it very successfully, very low stress. Although kind of stressed in the beginning, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I trusted the instructions and it all came out really well. And yeah, this is the end result. I used 2 different kinds of yarn for this. So the first one is one of my Handspun. It is a Cormo fiber from Nest Fiber in the colorway Garden Path. And it is this colorful section here. This is all done in the Handspun, so you can see all of that striping because I did do a fractal spin for spinning the Handspun, and so it does have that striping. And I also use the handspun in this section, but you'll see it looks a little more blurred out. Brioche blur cowl, because it switches back and forth between my handspun yarn and the second yarn, which was Explorer Knits Denali Sock in the colorway Drift. And so I really love this section. I love how this section looks. And then there's a third section here that is just with the Explorer Knits yarn. And so you really get like a great opportunity in this project to use two different like special skeins of yarn to make this cowl, and each of them gets to shine in their own way. You get one section with just one, another section with just the one, and then the middle section where you can combine the two, which I think is, again, so fun, so clever. Each section is a different stitch, and so you never really get too bored, or once you start getting bored with one section, you're like, all right, just get going, keep going, and then you get to move on to the next section. So I do want to highlight that again. So this part is just garter stitch, although it is worked in the round. So, and by in the round, it's actually like double-sided, like there's two, do you know what I mean? So that's what I mean by in the round, and not round this way. But yeah, it's worked in the round garter stitch, which does mean that you're alternating knitting and purling rounds. Then this middle section is like a alternating brioche between your two yarn colors. And then you've got a like syncopated brioche, I think is what it is called, which is really nice. So squishy. I do also want to say, I was thinking about this lately, that I maybe should do at some point kind of just like a roundup of all of the projects I've made with my handspun so far. Because when I started spinning yarn, or even before I started spinning yarn, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to knit with my handspun. Because I mostly just knit sweaters, but I'm not going to do a sweater spin with every single handspun, you know? So this is a great project to use handspun. You can use, I only used one handspun, but for Bridget's version, she used two of her handspun skeins, and so you definitely can do that as well. You also don't have to use handspun for this. You can use whatever yarn you would like, and it's very customizable for size. You just kind of like knit until you like the size pretty much. The only thing is width, but Bridget also explains if you want to change how much your cast on stitches are to make it smaller or bigger. She kind of like tells you how to do, you know, like, I forget exactly the details, but it's like if it needs to be an even numbered stitch, you know, she tells you that that's what it should be. So let me put this on for you now. I want to wear this for my podcast. Didn't have it on in the beginning because I wanted to show it to you as is, like not on me, but then I will put it on right now for the rest of the podcast. But this is kind of all the angles of it. I love it so much. This is my second ever cowl that I've knitted. Both cowls that I have knit were both patterns by Bridget, and so yeah, it's just so good. This might be my favorite. And again, I know I just said I only have two cowls, but I love this one. It's so squishy, and I think having the twist, like the Mobius shape, helps with the squishiness as well. Yeah, so I'm going to wear this for the rest of the video. All right, just also wanted to tell you all that I used US 4 needles for this. I think that I went up one needle size for this. And yeah, all right, that is the Brioche Blur Cowl. Oh, and it's a test knit, but the pattern came out, and I think it came out last week. So if you're looking for a great handspun, and if you have just like one special skein of handspun, or two, if you're going to use just two special skeins, I think it's a great pattern. It's a perfect project for it to show off your handspun. And if you don't spin, any special skein of any color would be great. Okay, enough of that. Even though I love it, we're going to move on. I have a second finished object, but I don't have it with me. It is my leg warmers that I was knitting for my skating coach. I finally finished it. And the reason why I don't have it with me is because I already gave it to her. I gave it to her yesterday at my lessons because it was done and I wanted to get it to her as soon as possible. But I did ask her that next time she does wear it, when she skates, probably during one of our lessons, I want to take pictures, and she said that would be fine. So whenever that does happen, I will be sure to post some pictures, probably on my Instagram, but also probably on a podcast video as well. So I can't wait. I hope she loves it. I used Knit Picks Swish DK in the colorway Marble Heather, which I think was a great yarn. It is a superwash merino yarn, so it is very soft, but also I think will be fine. I didn't machine wash it myself, but it should be machine washable, and that's what I told her, like, it should be fine. She said she doesn't, put it in the dryer or anything, so that should be fine. I did block it and wash it with wool wash, just because that's how I like to wash my finished knitting projects, and I did use a fun wool wash. Actually, anytime I use a wool wash, it's probably a fun one. I love all of Sorella's wool washes pretty much. I just have a whole bunch of them because all of the scents are so good. So anyway, I used one of them, and it was funny because I think, when I gave it to my coach, she kind of like went like this with it. She's like, oh my gosh, it's so soft. And she's like, wow, it smells so good. And I was like, it's a special wool wash. And she was like, I didn't even know that wool wash was a thing, or that different scents of wool wash. And I was like, yes, I have a whole collection. But yeah, so I think she really liked it. I hope, again, she didn't put it on during my lessons when I gave it to her because she had her skates on, and you'd have to take off your skates, and it's kind of a whole thing. So I hope it fits. She did do a try on a few weeks ago when I had part of it done, just to make sure I was on the right track. And so I just can't wait to see her wear it because I hope it looks cute. I hope it fits and all of that. So yeah, it was just a 2x2 rib, and it's just a long tube. Like, I think it ended up being like this long because she wanted it to fit over her skate boot and also go up to above her knees. And she's about the same height as me, although I think her legs are maybe a little longer. So yeah, so that is my second finished object, but I don't have it here physically to show you, but I will show you finished pictures of it when I get the opportunity to take pictures. And yeah, okay, now on to my whips for the past 2 weeks. I hope that I remember everything that I did work on the past 2 weeks. It was just crazy busy. Lots of things, I feel like lots of things happened. Also, the reason why I do weekly videos is because my memory is horrible. I can't remember a lot of things. So even 2 weeks, even though 2 weeks is still short, like I can't remember things off the top of my head unless I write it down. So I hope I got everything. So I do remember though that for the next couple months, I will be starting always with my Sweet Shop blanket progress. This is a pattern by Laura Penrose, and so I will say it's been 2 weeks, and so the plan was / still kind of is to knit 4 squares every week. However, that just didn't work out for the past 2 weeks, and so the past 2 weeks I just knit 4 squares. So I'm not going to try and catch up. We're just going to continue on just doing 4 weeks every week from here on out. But I only have 4 squares for the past 2 weeks, is all I'm trying to say. So let me and this is an exciting 4 squares because it is the last 4 squares of the summer colors. So I'll hold it up. Blue and pink. So cute. And if this is the first time you're hearing me talk about this Sweet Shop blanket and you're like, what are you talking about? And you're confused. So really quickly, I am making this Sweet Shop blanket and using Pasley Knits 2023 Seasons Boxes sock sets. I bought the sock sets last year, 4 sock sets for each season. And I am, as you can maybe guess, that I am making 2 squares of each colorway from the sock set. So the tonals are the minis, and then the variegated is the full skein, and that's why the 4 squares per week is kind of like one sock set per week. And this is the last one for the summer season. And so now I will unfold what I have for you so that you can see the full summer colors. Oh, which reminds me that I should post a picture of this on my Instagram, because I posted a picture of the spring, this finished spring side of the blanket, but now this is the finished summer side of the blanket. It's such a different vibe from the spring side of the blanket. Let me just turn this over. You can see this is spring and summer. I do really like that each one has a very like distinct characteristic to the whole, just all of the colors in each season. And so every time I work on this, I'm like, oh, this was such a good idea. So now I have 2 full seasons done. I will hold up. This is going to be the width of the blanket now. And so now I'm halfway done with the blanket, which is really exciting. So now I will be working, I was working like this was a start, and I was kind of working this way, and so now I'm going to restart above here for fall, and then on this side will be winter. So that is a blanket. That is what I have right now. So many squares. And also I keep forgetting to mention this, but the main color, which is like this kind of off-white, is just an undyed yarn, because I thought to pair it with, all of the different colors. I wanted just a plain something to make the actual colors from the sock sets shine. So that is what we've got. I think this is going to be a really great blanket to just lounge around with once it's done. Even just like right now, just having it on my lap is really nice. And it's so soft. It's so soft. I really like this yarn base from Pasley Knits. I was very surprised. I was kind of wondering, like, why is it so soft, actually? But I read the label, as I maybe should have in the beginning. Not that, again, it really matters, but, well, it matters because I want to share it all with you. So, again, I'm going to fold this up. I also love that I can fold it and just, like, display any color, any sock set I want. So, the sock set that I used this week, this is leftovers of that full skein, because it only uses, each square uses almost 10 grams. So I pretty much use the full mini, although I do have like small balls left of the mini skeins. But this one is Pool Club and Malibu Dream House. So again, these colors here. And the reason why this yarn is so soft is because, so this is the coastal sock base. She's been changing her bases kind of frequently, but maybe not that frequently, but coastal sock, which is, or was, 85% superwash, extra fine merino wool, and 15% nylon, 437 yards for 100 grams. And yeah, I think the key here was that it's superwash, extra fine merino, and so that's why it is really soft, even though there's some nylon in it. So I do really like it. And I can't wait to knit more with it. I do have no concrete plans yet on what to do with the leftover full skeins for each of the sock sets, but I am going to knit something with them. So yeah, that is the progress on my Sweet Shop blanket. I am using US 6 needles for this. I think that is a recommended needle size, but I think my gauge is off potentially. Every single time I film, I'm like, I should actually measure my squares. I don't know if my gauge is off, but I ran out of yarn the first time I tried to make 2 full squares with my mini skeins, and so they are smaller and less stitches in less increases in my squares. So I just want to point that out. My squares are just slightly smaller than the pattern. So yeah, but it's coming out really nicely and I'm very happy with it. Okay, I'm just going to leave the blanket on my lap since that feels really nice. Okay, next up, oh, so much progress on this because I want this to be done. I want to get things off my needles so that I can cast on more things. Lots of progress on my Traveler Shell by Andrea Mowry. And I mean, it's almost done. Like, really almost done. Ta-da! Okay. So, really quickly first, as I hold this up and you can look at it, the yarn I'm using is Pasley Knits Sailing Sport, which is 100% baby alpaca, in the colorway Golden Pavillion, which is this really pretty watercolory light green and blue color. I am knitting size 2, and I used US 2 size needles for the ribbing and US 4 needles for the main part of the body. And so I finished knitting the entire body, including the sleeves, all of the ribbing on the sleeves, ribbing for the, there's no buttons, I don't want to say button band, but like the neck band, all the way around. This honestly felt like it took forever, this ribbing, but yeah. Tubular bind-offs for all of the ribbing. It was worked bottom up. I'm talking about it like it's a finished object because it almost is. I also finished knitting the pockets. So I think, you know, these pockets are optional because you just sew them on, but I did really want the pockets. And I also really just want to use as much of the yarn as I can. And they're slanted like this. So this would be on this side, and this one's slanted the other way, and this is on the left side. So these are the finished pockets as well. So all I have left to do is to wash it, to block it to measurements, and then to sew on the pockets. Weave in the extra ends, and then it's done. And yeah, so it's close. Very, very, very close. I'm kind of dreading sewing on pockets. I really don't like sewing on pockets, but I think it'll be really worth it for this short sleeve cardigan situation. I sometimes don't block things first before I sew stuff on, just because I don't know how much it really, for some projects I'm like, I think it's okay. And it's, for me, the way it comes out, I don't really see a problem with it, and so I usually just sew stuff on and then block it all, instead of block it and then sew it on, unless it's like actual set-in sleeves. I think I've only done one project like that, and it was a sweater for my dad. That one I definitely blocked first because I was really worried about the sizing and just like the whole like actually sewing in the sleeve situation. But for this one, the reason why I'm not just sewing this on right away is because I know that this yarn and just this stitch pattern will grow after blocking, and it'll grow lengthwise. I'm like pretty sure that it will. As you can maybe tell, it is a like alternating like stockinette and I guess reverse stockinette. So there's like purl row bumps. And so that it's kind of acts like ribbing where it really kind of condenses this way. But so I think that everything will grow lengthwise. And so I just want to make sure I place it in the right spots on the cardigan after it grows after washing. So that is why it is not done, not fully done yet. But I did try it on. I think the drape on this is amazing, and it's going to be even more amazing after washing and blocking. And yeah, I'm really excited about having this to wear, especially when spring comes around. I think it'll be a really nice thing to wear over stuff. So yeah, very excited about having this done, also because I am planning on making a bunch more of like the Traveler series of patterns by Andrea Mowry. I don't know if I want to have a Traveler thing on my needles all the time. I might want to have a slight break. So that'll hopefully give me enough, enough time until I move on to my next one, just to get this one done. So yeah, that is progress update on my Traveler shell. Hopefully, and probably next time you see it, it will be done. Okay, next up is my Verglas wrap, aka my soup shawl by Lindsey Fowler. And I wanted to say that on my skating trip, I did bring the leg warmers for my coach as my main knitting project because it was very easy knitting to do, and for a trip like that, I wanted something very easy and something I didn't have to think about. So that was my one main project, and then this was like my secondary project. I was like, just in case I finish the leg warmers and don't have knitting. That did not happen, but I did bring this along just to knit on it just in case. But I did knit on it at some point within the past 2 weeks. This is my stitch marker for progress. So I did work a decent amount on it the past 2 weeks. It was squished up in a bag, so it's looking kind of wrinkly, but this is another fun project for me where I am kind of using like a collection of yarn for one project. And so for this wrap, I am using the Coast to Coast yarn soup sock sets. I bought 4 sock sets. I think that was all of the sock sets, and I'm using all of them to make this wrap. And so I'm still on the first soup. I think this was split pea, and the mini skein was it crusty loaf or something like that? So yeah, we're just making some progress here, and it might be easier now to see that each sock set is going to get kind of like a section that looks like this, where you'll get 2 sides of that main skein, and then right in the middle is going to be a strip of some kind of different stitch pattern. And so in the pattern, it does come with 4 different options for this mini skein strip, and so this is the first one. I thought I am trying to be kind of like on theme here with it, and I think it works out really well. Although it's also worked out well, not planned like in order. Like I'm doing these in order. You can obviously choose whatever one stitch pattern you want for the mini skein, but I thought the mini skein, I'm pretty sure it's called crusty loaf, which is like bread, and so I thought it's cute that it has like kind of like these crossing diamonds, because to me I'm thinking like, the bread that has like the slashes on it, so that was kind of my thought behind it. But yeah, this is a really fun and relaxing project to work on, especially during the main full skein sections, because it's a stitch pattern. You do have to kind of focus a little bit, but it's a repeating pattern, so it feels relaxing but still engaging. And yeah, I am knitting the large size, and I'm using US 5 needles for this. I am excited to get to the second sock set. I feel like this is going to be a pretty fun project to work on, because I'm just going to want to keep getting to the next sock set. And just as a sneak preview, because I am so excited for the next one, I did wind up my skeins for this. I don't have the mini skein with me right now, but the next one is this really amazing brown, red, orangey brown color. And this one is called Hearty Stew. And the mini skein is a really pretty white color, and it's creme fraiche. So yeah, that's what's coming up next. And so I wound it up so that I can be inspired to continue working on it so I can start the next sock set. Okay, that is my Verglas wrap. And then my last knitting work in progress, yes, I think so, is my Skyline tee by Tori. This is a test knit, and I really wanted to get progress done on this I always want to get progress on everything, but this is a test knit. I'm good on time. I don't have to worry about it, but I'm excited for this finished object, and so I got, I think, pretty good progress done on this. We have joined, actually, where were we last time? I don't think I was joined front and back yet last time, so yeah, we now have a front and back. We are joined under the arms. We worked a couple inches of the body, maybe like an inch and a half. Here's the back. And we have finished 2 finished sleeves, which I finished last night. 2 finished sleeves, knit to pattern, and also a neckline, a ribbed neckline. The ribbings are 1x1 rib with a tubular cast off, bind off, and it's looking so good. I feel like projects look so nice once you put on the neckline and also the sleeves, and I really like how it's coming out. I am using Explorer Knits Denali sock in the colorway Morning Ritual, which is which is a Seattle, one of the Seattle collection variegated colorways, which I got last year. I got one skein as a sock set at the La Mercerie pop-up last year, and then I bought another skein because I was like, I probably want to make a top out of this eventually, so I got another skein at Flock, I believe, and now it's turning into a t-shirt, and so I'm really excited about that. This has a saddle shoulder construction. I will say it is a little hard to see this detail on a variegated yarn, but the tops of each shoulder has a 3x1 rib here, and it continues on that pattern onto the sleeve. Yeah, it is definitely harder to see it on a variegated yarn, but I still really like it, and I feel inspired to make, this is one of those patterns where I want to make one in a variegated and also one in a tonal color, so that probably will be coming up in the near-ish future. But yeah, I really like how this is turning up. I love the colors, and I was kind of like, yeah, when I was talking about this colorway, I was like, Seattle variegated, because Explorer Knits is doing a pop-up at La Mercerie again this coming weekend. I sadly won't be able to make it, but they will be having this colorway as well. Actually, by the time you see this video, the pop-up will have been done. But anyway, yeah. Very happy with this progress. I am knitting size 1, and I'm using US 3 needles for this, which is the recommended needle size. I think the ribbing is US 2 needles. Okay, so that is all for the spinning. That's all for the knitting, but I do have some spinning things to talk about. I have one finished spin project, and where'd it go? Oh, it's right here. This is my finished spin. The fiber was from Union Fiber. It was a New Zealand treated Corriedale nylon 80/20. This was my first spin using something that has nylon in it, and I love how this came out. Hopefully editor Ariel will remember to put a picture here. I know someone did ask that when I show my finished spins, that I also show what the fiber looked like, so you can see a comparison on what it looked like in fiber form and then after it's done being turned into yarn. And so this is the finished skein of yarn. I did a 2-ply, and this was not a fractal spin. I just spun this pretty much end to end, just the whole fiber thing, and then I just plied it together from each end, if that makes sense. And so this is all of it. I don't have a smaller skein of that quote leftover yarn for it, but yeah, this is how it looks. I really like how the colors turned out. It turned out a lot more blended than I thought it would, just based on what the fiber did look like in the beginning. but I'm very happy with how this came out. It's a lot more light pink than I thought it would be, and if you know me, I love pink, and so I'm very happy with that. It has purple and some green, and that's, I think, kind of like the most dominant colors in there. And yeah, I'm excited to knit with this. I will probably make socks with this. I think I probably got a fingering or sport weight with this, and what was I gonna say? Oh, I have, if you're interested in the entire process of me making this, last week I didn't have a regular podcast video, and so I did upload my first spin with me episode, and so I'm kind of hoping that it's enjoyable to watch. The whole video is just me spinning this from start to finish, and so you get to see, I of course don't film every single minute that I'm doing the spinning of this, just because it kind of looks a lot of the same, but I do get lots of different camera views of me spinning. You get to see me actually like unbraid the fiber, split up the fiber, how do I wind up my fiber to spin, maybe, yeah, you just get to see pretty much the entire process of how I spin, and I maybe do it differently than a lot of people, or, you know, I don't think that there's really a wrong way to spin. That's kind of my viewpoint. I think that, you know, if you're looking to get something very specific, then there, you know, are probably techniques for you to do. But for me, I just really like, so far, I've been liking the outcome, and so I think as long as you love what you end up making in whatever process you do, that's fine. And so I wanted to just share with you all how I do all of that. I also go and show you how I, you know, when I'm done, like I wind it up, how I wash it, dry it, how I skein it up, and, you know, it really is kind of the whole process. If there's something more about it that you think I have missed or you want to see more of, definitely let me know. I want to make another video, another spin with me video, and I have ideas on what the future ones will be, but I want to take a break in between making these because it is kind of a lot of work to film myself when I am spinning something versus just spinning whenever. So yeah, there probably won't, another one won't come out, you know, anytime super soon, but I do have plans on making one again. So yeah, this was my first spin with me episode, fiber spin, yarn spin. So yeah, so that is my finished spinning project. And I of course started another one. Oh, I did not work on my sweater spin at all in the past 2 weeks, but you know, that's all right. I started another spin this time. This is one I'm not doing a video on just because I want, yeah, again, I just want a break in between filming my spinning. So I started spinning one of my hand-dyed, like I dyed fiber. It was a super fine merino fiber, and I dyed 2 different braids of it, and I was like, I really want to spin one of them because I haven't, it was like a full 4 ounces of each, and so I haven't spun a me hand-dyed fiber, like 4 ounces of fiber yet, and so I just want to get that done. Like I wanted to do it, and I was like, why not do it now? So, and this time, this is my first time doing a 3-ply fractal. I usually do a 2-ply fractal, but this time I'm doing a 3-ply fractal, and so that should be maybe interesting. So these are the first, I split up the fiber into 3 different sections. These are the first 2 done. I'm almost done with the 3rd, and so I get to ply very soon. As you'll see, this is a very pastel colored colors. And hopefully, again, editor me will remember to put a picture. I took some pictures of the fiber before I started spinning it, so that even for myself, as I'm trying to figure out how to dye fiber and what kind of colors I like to dye the fiber, that I get to kind of see what it looks like in fiber form versus what it looks like in a spun up form. I am loving these colors. I really, really like it. I actually like it more than I thought I would. When I dyed the fiber, if I still have the picture up here, there were some of the dyes kind of came out really strange. Like, I think that was either, oh no, I think it was like a gray color that I used, and it turned like this kind of gross yellow green, and I was like, I don't like that, and it's weird. That was not what I intended, but it actually looks okay when it's spun up, and so I found that pretty interesting. I think you can maybe see that section over here. Like, it's still kind of a gross-ish color. Don't really like it, but I like it better here than in the fiber braid. I think it's because it kind of blends out a little more. I had a lot of like undyed sections in that braid. And so as I've learned from this one, which also had a lot of like big splotches of color and some undyed sections, like once you spin it and you're drafting and doing all of that, it kind of blends out with the white, and so it comes out a little lighter. So those are kind of like all learnings that I'm taking from this right now, and I'm excited to see what yarn, what it turns out once I apply all of this. I think I said this is a super fine merino. Fun fact, or not fun, maybe fun, excuse me, I felted this fiber when I dyed it, and I don't know if it was from, it could have been from multiple reasons, either like heating it up too fast, or I feel like possibly when I was soaking it first before dyeing it, I think the water was too cold. And I think I read that you can also felt fiber if the water is too cold and you like shock it. But either way, it was felted, and this was very hard to spin with. Like, you can't really pull it apart, and I still really wanted to spin with it. Like, I didn't want to just like, not turn it into yarn. So there are a couple things that I tried to make it more spinnable, and I think I will probably do a video on my second hand dyed fiber braid, so that I could show you all how I deal with a pre-felted piece of fiber, which I hope you don't ever get, but just in case you do, what to do maybe. I found what was really helpful is to, because it's really hard to pull it in the direction you want to draft, you have to really split it up the width-wise, and that really helps. It still is hard to work with, but I really wanted to spin with one of my hand-dyed fiber braids. So yeah, it honestly turned out pretty okay, considering I thought I wouldn't be able to spin it at all. But lessons learned, hopefully. So yeah, it is still very soft. It is a super fine merino. It is still very, very soft. So again, I'm also interested in seeing once I apply it and it's all done, like, is it still soft? Because it was pretty felted before, but then I spun it. I don't know. But it's all part of the experiment, and I find it pretty fun. So that's all for the spinning projects. And I have one acquisition for this week, the past 2 weeks. I forget what week I got this, but I got one of my skeins from the Woolberry Collective. This one I'm very excited about. This is Woolberry fiber in the Berry Rambouillet worsted base. This is a new base for her, I think. New to me for sure. This is the first time I got this base, and so I was very excited to see it and feel it, and I'm very excited about it. The colorway is Bewitched, which I love this color so much. It took a lot in me to not buy a sweater quantity of this colorway. It's so pretty. I love it. I feel like it's a very me colorway. It is a non-superwash US Rambouillet yarn. It's so squishy. It's a 2-ply. You can very kind of easily see that 2-ply. And it's 200 yards for 100 grams. My thoughts for this one skein is I'll probably make a Manhattan hat with it. That's my kind of like my plan when I bought this yarn. So we'll see if it turns into a Manhattan hat. Probably will. We'll see. I I love how it feels. It feels very squishy and soft. And so I can't wait to knit with it and feel what it feels like on the skin, because it does feel, what's the word? Like, it feels bouncy. Feels like it'll hold its shape without it being, like scratchy. Like, it's still soft, but it's not, I don't see it being super drapey. Feels kind of sturdy. But that could also be because it is a worsted weight, but yeah, I'm very excited about this. I did buy another skein of this base in a different colorway from Woolberry, and so I'm also excited to get that one. So yeah, that's my one acquisition for this week, and that's all the knitting, spinning, yarn stuff I have for you all today. But now is the section where I will talk about what I did last weekend. And so if you are just here for the knitting, thank you for listening and watching. And if you're here to hear me talk about my ice skating, then keep on watching. And I just realized, like, there's so much light happening here, this window situation, but I hope it's all right. I am filming this in the morning. I usually film in the afternoon, but it's morning time. So anyway, last weekend I traveled. This is my first ever travel somewhere in a plane out of state for a ice skating competition. This was the Pacific Coast Adult Sectionals competition, and you don't have to qualify for it, so it's not like I, did competitions and was like, you are invited to sectionals. You can just go. You, of course, have to pay for it. It's not cheap. It's actually quite expensive. I was like, I don't know. This is not something I don't think I'll do every year. But it was in Santa Rosa, California. I've never been there before. Some of my skating friends are actually from Santa Rosa, and so I was like, I feel comfortable about that. Felt good. They've skated at this rink before, which also made me feel better, because they were like, yeah, the rink's really cute. Like, you gotta skate there. And I was like, that helps. So that was a competition situation. I don't even know where to start. So thankfully, there was a lot of other adult skaters from my rink that also signed up for this competition. And so there was a bunch of us on the same plane ride there. I left on a Wednesday afternoon, and I was honestly pretty nervous. I was very excited, but I did skate. I had my last lesson with my coach before the competition Wednesday morning, and oh my gosh, it was the first time I was running through my program with my coach, and I was like, I felt nauseous. I was like, I am so nervous. I think part of it is just like that travel aspect. Like, I'm going to be somewhere I'm not familiar with. I'm going to be at a rink that I am not familiar with and won't have an opportunity to even run my program on that ice before I actually perform it. Because the other competitions I do in like the Seattle area, I have had the opportunity to, like, the weekend before competition, go to that rink and feel it out for like an hour, right? Like, most of my training sessions are just 1 hour on the ice, but so because it's local, even if I have to drive somewhere else, the weekend before I get to go on the ice, run my program, see how it feels on the ice. Sometimes the ice rinks are different size, if you don't know, and so just kind of getting used to that. One thing that maybe you've thought of, or maybe not, one thing I didn't even think about is that when you see skaters spin in their programs, and then they finish the spin, right? They exit the spin. Well, in a routine, you usually want to exit facing a certain direction. Usually it's the front, like where the judges are. And one of those things is like being able to spot while you're spinning when to exit. And that's kind of hard to do because you get dizzy and everything looks blurry. And so when you train at a rink, you kind of get used to seeing certain parts of the rink and knowing when to exit so that you are facing the direction you want to be facing. But at a new rink, everything looks new and you don't know when to stop spinning, basically. And so, well, it's kind of really funny. I'm kind of like jumping stories and timelines here, but at this new rink, I didn't know where to exit. And so every time I exited the end of my program, I get up from a spin and then I stop immediately and then do my end pose. And I think like 3 or 4 times in a row, I was practicing that, and every time I faced the back. And so, just getting used to those kinds of things is hard. And things I was kind of worried about going to an away rink, that I wouldn't have a full hour to practice on the ice to get used to it, I was worried about. So anyway, Wednesday had my last lesson. Very nervous, but my coach was like, you'll be fine. You're well trained. I've had this program for over a year. We've made changes to it since then, but well trained, well prepared, calm. And yeah, that's what I was telling myself. And so we took the flight out with a bunch of friends, and it was really nice to have skating friends on the flight as well. We're all seated next to each other, which was kind of planned, so that was fun. And yeah, got to Santa Rosa. The flight was pretty short. I think it was like an hour and a half or something. And I didn't realize that this airport was small as it was. I've been to smaller airports because I am from Hawaii, and some of the outer islands, I'm originally from Oahu, just for context. Some of the outer islands have very small airports, like only one gate, only one runway, and you can only get there by like propeller plane, like a small plane. Maybe not like super small, but But I wasn't expecting the Santa Rosa airport to be as small as it was. I think they have 4 gates, but like maybe 1 or 2 baggage claims. Like everything is just in like one building, one security line. But we landed, and the whole airport was decorated with Snoopy. So I heard from my friends who grew up there that, Charles Schulz, the creator of Snoopy, and Charlie Brown was from there. And so there is a lot of like Snoopy stuff. But the airport was so cute. It was decorated on the walls of the airport, like all Snoopy art, and there were like statues and like sculptures and like artwork, and I thought it was very cute. I took a lot of pictures just in the airport, and so that was really cute and fun. I was like, oh, I'm definitely here just for the Snoopy. And then what did we do? I mean, we must have ate dinner. Oh, the hotel we were staying at was right across from like a Panera, and I love Panera, and so we just had Panera. My boyfriend came with me, so yeah, we just ate at Panera. Next morning, so this was Thursday morning, was like the first day of skating stuff, but very short. So Thursday morning at 6 a.m. was my first scheduled practice ice. Practice ice, I think, is dumb the way that they do it. You have to pay for your practice ice before they give you the schedule on what practice ice you can choose from. And so if you don't like any of the times, you basically lose your money, which I think is dumb. But I paid for 3 different practice ice. Each one is 20 minutes. It's only 20 minutes. It's so short. But I was not competing. My competition days were Friday and Saturday. So on Thursday, I wanted to just get in 1 practice ice session to have 1 extra day to kind of like, skate on the ice and get like acquainted, have a whole day to let it soak in. So Thursday morning at 6 a.m. was the option. Also because practice ice can get crazy if there's like 20 skaters on there. And so I was like, maybe 6 a.m., less people will be there. And thankfully it like kind of was. It was fine. 6 a.m., but that also means, you want to warm up and have time to put on your skates before you get on the ice. So, get there at 5:30, which means you have to wake up even before that, all of that. But I was nervous, and so waking up early wasn't too much of a problem. Practice ice went okay. The rink was so cute. It is called Snoopy's Home Ice. And the whole outside of the rink looks very cute. The inside also looks very cute. It's like all like wood kind of like features, some plants here and there, just like very cute, like town-ish kind of looking on the inside. And the rink was so cute. There was like Snoopy artwork and like Charlie Brown on the ice. And so the first time I did a couple laps around the ice, I was just looking at what was on the ice because it was so cute. There was like a little wood stock that was like on the ice. Very cute, so cute. I was like, I am literally just here, but also because I was very nervous. I was like, I am just here to skate on this very cute ice rink and get some cute pictures. That was what I was telling myself to calm me down. So that happened. First day, 20 minutes, and I was like, I don't like how this ice feels. It feels weird. I don't know what it is about it, but I got very nervous. But it was fine. We had a whole day after that to just kind of do something to relax. And yeah, we actually went, so my friends that are actually from that area, they were like, let's go to, I believe it's called Armstrong Redwoods State Natural Reserve. They're like, let's just walk in nature, just to relax and not think about the skating or the competition. So we went there, and that was really fun. So, I've never seen trees that big before, which maybe sounds weird, but yeah, those are some crazy tall, crazy wide, very old trees, and so that was fun to do. I also didn't know that this area was kind of like wine country, so that we passed by so much grapes plants. Like, there weren't grapes on the plants, but they were planted and you could see it all, and that was also kind of crazy. So that was Thursday. And then Friday was the first day where I had some kind of competitions. I was actually in three competition things, 3 things I would have to skate for, and kind of 4 things where I could rank or get a medal, which maybe is kind of confusing, but also I need to fix this lighting here. Okay, hopefully I fixed the lighting just a little bit. Now there's kind of just more dots and stuff, but yeah, so Friday was the first time I had something where I had to skate and, be judged, but those were kind of more of a slightly more relaxed situation. So I entered in 2 challenges for Friday. It was a spins challenge and the jumps challenge. Each of them are a separate event, you skate them separately, but they were very close to each other timing-wise. I had practice ice in the morning. I think it was at 6:45 this time on Thursday. Is that right? Anyway, I had a morning practice ice. I think all of my practice ice was morning. And then the competition or the events were, I think, around 10 a.m. or something like that. So first up was spins challenge, and this, I apologize if this is maybe boring, but to me it's just kind of complicated, and so just maybe kind of want to explain what's going on. For adults, actually for any kind of competition, but specifically for adults, there are levels. I mean, there's levels for skating, but when you compete within your level, and that should be kind of based on your skills. And so you're not going to be competing with someone who's at a much higher level than you, and they kind of base these levels off of tests that you take that will determine, you can go up levels, but you can't go down levels after you take certain tests. And so I am at, I skate at the pre-bronze level, which just means I took the pre-bronze test, and so I can't skate anything lower than that. I believe that there's adult beginner, adult high beginner, and then it's pre-bronze, bronze, silver, and gold. The naming is kind of weird, but that's the order of the levels, and so I am at adult pre-bronze level. They also separate it out for certain competitions depending on age group, and so I am in the first age group for adults, and so I believe that that's from 18 until 35, and they have 4 adult age levels, and each of them after the first one are 10 years apart, and so it's very cool. It's very inspiring to watch people in the adult 3 and 4, I mean even 2, 3 and 4 group to skate, because adult 4 I think is 55 and up. And they're amazing, and it makes me so inspired and encouraged that I can skate for a long amount of time and have it still be fun and do really fun things. I don't have to be doing triple axels out there to say that I'm a skater. But anyway, so I am in the pre-bronze level. However, for the spins and jumps challenge, I challenged myself and I competed at the bronze level, which is 1 level above. Just because of the required spins and jumps for each of the levels, I felt like I was more at the bronze level than pre-bronze. Just maybe for context, pre-bronze spins challenge was like a 2-foot spin and a 1-foot spin. And I was like, honestly, 2-foot spin's supposed to be like the first spin you learn, and I can't do it. I can't do a 2-foot spin. I really suck at it. So I want to do the bronze ones, which is I think it's just 2 spins that one is up, they're in different positions. Different basic positions. So with that, I decided for the spins challenge, I'm going to do a scratch spin, which is a 1-foot spin, but you probably see it. A lot of people do it. You spin with one leg and then you cross the leg over the other so that you gain a lot of speed. So I did that spin, and then I also did a sit spin. And the sit spin is kind of what it sounds like. So you're spinning on one foot, but you're basically doing like a pistol squat, which is just like you have one foot out and you're bent down with the other one, and you're spinning in that position. So those were my 2 spins. You only get 1 chance at each. So if you mess up one of the spins, that's just like how it is for the competition. So I did that challenge, and I got 4th place out of 5 people, which honestly, for these challenges, because I was going up a level, I was not really expecting to medal or do anything, get anything at all. I thought it would just be amazing if I didn't get last, which it was kind of just like, wow, that's nice. I didn't get last for spins. They weren't my best spins, but they were like honestly kind of okay. The ice started feeling a lot better on this day, on Friday. So started to get used to it. It was pretty nice. And so that was really nice. And they do give medals 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. So I actually did get a medal, an actual medal for this competition, or for the spins challenge. After that was jumps challenge. So I just had maybe like 15 minutes in between until the jumps challenge. Jumps challenge is slightly different. You do 3 jumps, 1 for my level. Again, these words might not mean anything, but I'll just say it because if you watch ice skating, you maybe have heard of the names of these jumps. For the bronze jumps challenge, you have to do a single sow cow, which means 1 rotation sow cow jump, a single toe loop jump, and then any combination jump that has a toe loop at the end. So I just went the easy route. For my combo jump, I did a sow cow toe loop combo, which just means you do the jumps one right after the other. They're all single jumps, don't worry. I'm not doing any doubles, definitely no triples. So that was my jumps of choice, and again, I was doing this at the bronze level, and so everyone else was doing much harder jumps than me, jumping a lot higher than me. I surprisingly also did not get last place in this. I got 3rd place out of 4 people. So that was also nice. I got a medal again, different ribbon color. That's kind of how they do it at these competitions, is that the ribbon color of the medal tells you kind of like what place you got. Don't worry, I will show you the medals, not to brag, but because they are so cute. But I'll show them after I talk about all the events. So that was Friday, and then I stayed a little bit to watch my friends compete in their own levels. But on Friday was kind of all of the kind of like challenges type of things. No one was really doing their programs yet. So that was Friday. I forget what else we did. But Saturday was a big day. That was when most people were doing their actual programs to music, and the one that you kind of work on for a very long time. So Saturday, I again had a morning practice ice. Ice was starting to feel a lot more comfortable, so that was really encouraging. Again, this was like only a week ago, but I'm already forgetting what happened. But I think I had a good amount of time, maybe like 3 or 4 hours between my practice ice and when I actually performed. And so I wanted to watch some people, but I also didn't want to get too distracted. I think we went to the Snoopy Museum, or the Charles Schultz Museum that was across the street. Went to the gift shop to buy some Snoopy stuff, of course, and watched some of my friends skate. They all skated so amazing. There were actually even more people there from the rink than I initially knew, because I did have a kind of like stand-in coach. So there's one coach from my rink who, like, almost all of her adult skaters, it felt like, were at this competition. And my coach only had 2, so me and one other student who were going, and so it wasn't worth it for her to come to this competition with us because you have to pay for your coach to be there, like pay for their hotel and their food and stuff. So it would be better if we just had the other coach who had a bunch of other skaters there, as long as she was comfortable with taking us. Oh, sorry, I almost dropped something. As long as she was comfortable taking us for the weekend, that if we all split the cost, that'd be a lot cheaper. So that's kind of what we did. So we watched everyone skate, and it was amazing. So they did so good. Everyone looked great, and it's really awesome to see because you see them train, so you kind of know like the parts that they're struggling, and you're just like, oh, I hope they get it, in the performance, and see the parts where they shine. And that was really awesome. Also to watch other people from other states, from other skating rinks compete, and that was really amazing. When it was my turn to go, there were 7 people in my group, and what was kind of funny was right before you perform, you do get a 3 or 4 minute warm-up right before your group goes. And like all 7 of us went on the ice, because that's usually how it is. Your whole group will go on the ice, warm up for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then you get off, and then it's one after the other perform. It was funny because we all got on the ice, and the announcer was like, please, only the first 3 skaters on the ice for the warm-up. And I was like, what? They split us up. And so I was skater number 4. I was pretty much right in the middle of the group, which I was like, that's fine for me to be, because again, this might be too much details, but when you are first in your group to skate, you usually don't take the full warm-up to warm up. So if the warm-up is 3 minutes, you actually only get 2, because you usually want to take that 1 minute break, go to the side, talk to your coach, kind of like calm down a little bit before it's your turn to skate first, right after the warm-up. And so I felt pretty good being right in the middle, because you also don't want to be last, because then that's a ton of time. It feels like a ton of time to wait from warm-up until you skate. So I felt good being in the middle. However, the way they did it was they split us up. So it was first three, and then the last 4, which meant I was first in the second group to go. So that was a little upsetting for me, but it was like kind of fine. So anyway, I also I feel really bad, but I cannot watch any skaters in my group before me skate. It makes me very nervous, and so I didn't get to watch the first half of my group skate. I think they probably skated amazing. I just couldn't watch them because I was too nervous. But it's my turn to skate. I felt nervous, but I actually felt pretty okay with the ice. Usually if the ice feels weird, I get even more nervous, just because I'm going to feel like I'm going to slip and fall and all of that, because ice is slippery. But I felt okay. Again, just a normal amount of nervousness, I think. I feel like I skated my program the best that I could, and that felt really good to me. I felt like this was a really strong group of skaters, and so I really also didn't expect to place or anything. But I felt really happy with my skate. A lot of things that I could, of course, always improve. I could skate faster. Everyone skated really fast, and they do look for that power when you're skating. I could skate faster, but I feel like I didn't back down from the speed as much as maybe I would have a year ago. I felt pretty good. There's this one jump in my program that I kind of freak out about a lot, which is the flip jump. And I was it's always been called under-rotated. And this time they weren't doing any of those. They were just ranking us. They weren't giving scores, which is a little sad. But I was just don't bail on it. Just go for it. Even if you fall, it's okay. And so I was you just have to just go for it. And so I did, and that felt really good to do too. I think my spins were all right as well in my program. Maybe I will be showing a video of some of my program here. I felt actually really good about it. Everyone at these adult competitions, I think, are just so encouraging, because it's such a hard thing to do as adults, and so we're all just encouraging of each other. and they were actually giving out tossies to everyone. Well, I guess whoever brings tossies. And by tossies, I mean, like, you know, when people throw stuff on the ice when you're done, like little gifts. And so that was really fun. That was my first time getting tossies. And so I also was like, after running your program, you're like, can I bend down and grab a thing off the ice? So, but I did, and it was really fun. It was really cute. I felt really happy about it. So surprisingly, I got, I placed, which was really amazing. I got second place for the free skate. Second place out of 7 people. I think that might have been the best that I've ever done. So that was pretty crazy, and it felt really good because I, again, just wasn't expecting to place at all. So yeah, I'm really proud of myself. I know that there's a lot more things for me to work on, but I feel very happy with it and how I did. So that was Saturday. Got to watch everyone else skate after that. Got to enjoy myself after that, and so that was really nice. And then there was like this fourth thing that I did enter myself into this competition, which was, it's called the Adult Competition Series. This was another confusing thing. I still don't really understand it, but you can submit 2 of your like scores or placement throughout this past year at, you know, your own competitions, plus the score that you get at this competition. They add up your scores, and then you get a placement for this adult competition series. And I also got second place for that as well. And they said that this one you can get trophies, and so they're going to mail us a trophy eventually, I guess. But that was pretty cool too. And so I came away with one, and most importantly, an amazing and fun experience. Would I do this again? I don't know. I think that if sectionals, because sectionals every year moves between the states, so if it were ever going to be in Washington State, I probably will do it. If I were to travel again, I think that if it was in Santa Rosa at the Snoopy ice rink, I probably would go again, but I don't see myself doing this every year. I had a good time, but it's also very expensive and very stressful. So that was my experience. Now to just show you some really cute stuff, because I am just here for the cute stuff, really. As a competitor at most competitions, you do get like a name tag saying that, you know, you are a competitor. This name tag came with a lanyard, and I just think it's so cute, and so I need to show it to you. And Snoopy and Woodstock on a Zamboni. I hope you can kind of see that. It's definitely not focusing. But yeah, it has Snoopy and Woodstock on a Zamboni, and I was like, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen. And it was free because it came with your name tag. So that was very cute. And then I will show you the medal. Because also, I was like, I think that if I didn't do this competition and I found out that the medals looked like this, I would have been so sad. Also would have been kind of sad if I didn't get at least one medal, because the medals are so cute. Okay, here it is. It has Snoopy skating. I don't think Snoopy has skates on his feet, no. But Snoopy on the medal. I think it's the cutest medal I will probably ever get from a skating competition. So yeah, very happy about that. It was a good experience, very stressful, but yeah, I'm very happy about it. I have good memories of it. Everyone was, it was just good to be with friends. I think that that's really what made it worth it too, was just that we, as like adult skaters, good community, I think, here at the rink that I skate at, and just felt really good about it. So I think I rambled on enough about that. I think my camera might die very soon. So I will end it there. Thank you so much for watching and listening, especially if you watched all the way until this part. It might have been kind of boring information, but I hope that I was putting some pictures and videos up here for you to watch while I ramble on about some skating stuff. But yeah, I hope you all have a great day and week, whichever day or week you're watching this. And I love reading your comments. Let me know if there's anything else you want me, to talk about, I guess, on the knitting podcast, or tell me the things you're working on while you're watching or listening to the podcast. If you have if you have time to check out my spin with me video, please do, and let me know how I can improve or include things that you would like to see in that as well. And yeah, I hope you all have a great day and week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.